From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Openline.
Well, good evening and welcome into Openline. I'm Chuck Long, glad to be along with you for this next hour. One of my favorite hours. I say that often, but I tell you, it is the truth, the God's honest truth, because this is Ask an Attorney Hour, Ask an Expert, and we have the expert in the house with us this evening, Kevin Kennedy from the law firm, the Kennedy Law Firm. You know Kevin, he has been here for years. He's one of your favorites, and it's for those situations that I know often you're watching and you're thinking, I've got this legal question, I don't know where to turn, I don't know who to ask, I need an expert. Well, again, the expert is in the house this evening. Glad to welcome once again Kevin Kennedy. How are you, Kevin?
Hello, my brother Chuck. It's good to be with you tonight. It's kind of fall in the air.
Right.
All our friends are out here with you, and quite frankly, you are our friends. We spend this time together, and I have people called this office I shared with Chuck, and they said, "Are you and Chuck really friends? I mean, y'all get along so much." And do you go by a teleprompter? Chuck, do we go by a teleprompter?
No teleprompter.
No This is the real Chuck, the real Kevin. So we love coming to you and bringing it's fun for us.
Absolutely. Kevin, my neighbor, before I came to the show tonight, he said, "Are you going down? Are you going to be on with Kevin tonight?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, I sure am. He never misses." So.
We were talking about, I thought I was running a little late. You know, if you get caught in the traffic, we do this show live. I said, Chuck, and Chuck was behind me, but we're here and we're ready.
That's right. And if you are tuning in for the first time, first off, we want to say welcome. We're glad that you're along with us. And the way that the show works is if you have a legal question, whether or not it's for you, whether or not it's for a family member, maybe a friend, you've been talking, you've been discussing things, and you want help or you want to help somebody, you can call 737-7587. That's 615-737-7587. Get on the line with us. And Kevin, again, is the expert from the Kennedy Law Firm, one of the top law firms in the entire country. And we're glad that he's in Tennessee. The other thing, Kevin, is we often say, you know, when someone calls in, they think, well, this question is, you know, it's a personal question. It's for me. It's my legal question.
Yes.
They ask the question, and then we get about 10 people, you know, calling in saying, "Oh, I'm so glad they called about that."
I do.
Yeah.
I hear that conversation all the time, and we've been on the air close to 10 years with this show, and so, but it is a delight to get to share. If we know something, we want to teach you. It'll make you sleep better, make your family. Get out your little notepad, and some people say, well, I don't use a notepad, Kevin. I use a computer. Whatever you want to use it and take some notes and share it with your family.
And you know, and again, this is the way to ask those questions because it's free of charge. We like that. And the thing is, whether or not it's you know you've been injured on a job, or we're talking family law or bankruptcy, or you're thinking about I've had a situation in a hospital or with a doctor's office, and I don't know what to do because I feel like the little guy, and I'm not sure where to turn. This is where you can get that information right here on Ask an Attorney.
It's good. Chuck, and what I always like to reiterate, when you say, well, I think this is correct, isn't it good if you just had a reassurance? And then we can talk one with another and share with you, and then you feel so much better. I thought I was right, are you? And, you know, the secret to my whole career has been conversations, discussions, consultations. I hear your opinion, and when we all agree, we move pretty forward. We're real strong in that position.
Kevin, another thing I love being here with you over the years, you know, like I said, I always say this is going to Kevin Kennedy University, and so I feel like I've got my degree from sitting here listening to your expertise. But the fact is, like things that I've learned, you know, it costs more not to use an attorney than it does to use the attorney because they're the expert.
It is so true. I am training young lawyers. I just had one that I've had working for me for a while now, and they passed the bar and they swore him in last week. And one thing that I was impressed, he's coming in. He says, Kevin, and it doesn't ever bother me. And you know, when people call, I love to help people. So that is, ask the question, and we'll help a whole lot of others, because it's better to say, hey, we're on the right track than you ran down the wrong track. Say, dude, I wish you'd asked me, and then we could have made a difference. It's different if you get some good advice and you don't listen. That's your problem. But if you get good advice and listen, hey, everybody's a winner.
I'm always amazed at the broad range of questions that we get on the show. I mean, it ranges everything from whether it's a car wreck, whether or not it's a confrontation with a neighbor, something like that. But the other thing that always amazes me is when we get so many broad-ranging questions, I'm always amazed. But you have the answer. But you've got so many different experts in so many different areas working at the Kennedy Law Firm.
I was just came back from the National Association of Trial Lawyers. All the best lawyers in the nation, Las Vegas. I was there with them chit-chatting, and I did reassure myself. I said, you know, you've got this many years of experience. Well, you do know a lot just because you've been there and you've been around and you're sitting in court and you're waiting for your case to be called, and there's some brilliant lawyers, and then you'll see some that needed some help. Because a more experienced lawyer could really, you say, golly, that guy is put together. So it doesn't take long to evaluate. That's the A team, this is the B team, that's the winning team. Watch out, you can figure it out. So learn all you can while we can.
That's right. So if you are just tuning in, we're glad that you are tuning in. You have tuned in to Ask an Attorney, Ask the Expert, and our expert once again in the house, Kevin Kennedy. All you have to do is call 615-737-7587. We'll be getting to the calls in just a moment. But another thing that I've learned, Kevin, is when someone has a situation that they're going through, no matter what it is, like I said, we've identified some of them at the top of the show, but one of the things that you want to start doing from day one is getting that information, gathering the information.
Yes.
You want to get records. You want to, don't wait for a year or two and then say, oh, I wish I had that information.
Yes. You know, one of the things lawyers criticized me over the years is I developed some of my strategies. Some of the things I put together were not taught in the law school. They were created. And so, we put together a portfolio. I've had some lawyers over the years and they said, well, I guess you're doing your portfolio. I said, I guess so, because it's a winning formula. And I'd say, hey, Chuck, can you get those photographs? Can you put your letters of recommendation here? Have you got some text messages? Let's put them in our portfolio. Well, golly, when Chuck and I put it together, we've already got part of the case already prepared. You're not going to knock him off because we've already discussed it. So always preparation. The dentist says prevention. Both my sons are doctors, prevention. And real estate, they say what? Location. And we say preparation. It's a winning formula.
It absolutely is. All right, let's go to the lines right now. Carol is our first caller of the evening. Carol, we're glad that you're with us. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
I have a question.
Great. Go ahead, Carol.
Oh, it's me. Okay. I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, someone apparently stole my identity in 2002 and got a loan that I was trying to get for business. The person who did it proposed herself as a grant writer, and so now that was back in 2002. So now, fast forwarding about a couple months ago, I actually received a notice in the mail from a bank that stated that I had borrowed $6,000. Now, of course, at the time, I was a lot younger and didn't understand, by giving my information as I did and trusting a particular grant writer in the state of Georgia who clearly specified she wasn't with the one-step group, or I don't even remember what the group was, somewhere Midtown Atlanta when I lived there. She kept telling me that I never received it every time I called her. But anyway, apparently, so now after all these years, I realize apparently she did get the loan in my stead.
Oh, my.
And they actually even have conversations where she apparently proposes me. And I'm just wondering, do I have a chance to counter that in any manner?
Yes.
And just to preface, I don't have any income. I was in a car accident last year, and I'm still healing, so I don't even have income. But a couple of days ago, I received another letter from the same institution, and they were saying they were gonna garnish my wages, but I don't have wages. I haven't had wages.
Okay, well, let me address what's happened to you. First off, they just can't garnish your wages. They're going to have to sue you. They'll have to follow due process, notify you, file a law search, serve you with a service of process, and gives you time to respond. So when they say, I'm going to garnish your bank account, I'm going to take all your money, well, that's just kind of some hype because there's procedures they have to go through. But what you have brought up is something that is happening like rampant. lawyers, businesses, everybody is getting hacked in their email. We're seeing a flood of it. So you say, what's the big deal to hack your email? Well, then they're sending out invoices. And Chuck says, well, hey, I didn't send you an invoice for this, and they're directing the money to be paid. And people say, I've never heard of that. That's why I'm sharing with you. You have to protect your identity like never before. And so take safeguards with it. You know, people say, well, we understand that. You can talk to the district attorney's office. These people are committing fraud. If they can prove that, you need to find their names, turn them in. If it goes across state lines, that's a federal offense. But I want the whole viewing audience to take extra caution right now in giving out information. You'll call the bank and they'll say, well, what is your Social Security? I'm dancing a jig. I want to make sure that person, because what do you do with the bank teller? Here's the phone call and they just write it down. Well, you put out your information. What about when you file your income tax and that clerk's there and says, okay, thank you, got it, and then they fire her and she's aggravated and she's got all those. So you say, Kevin, are you paranoid? No, realistic. When we were with the national trial lawyers, so many people said, hey, well, refer us your cases, Kevin. We'd love to bring more cases. Well, these people can talk big. Can they back up what they are representing? And in your particular situation, those people misrepresented who they were, what they were going to do with your information, and that's against public policy, and they can be held criminally and civilly liable for that.
All right, great information. Carol, thank you so much for kicking off the night with your question. A big help that you did. All right, if you do have one of those legal questions, make sure you get online with us. 737-7587 is the number to call. We're going to take a short break, but back with more of your questions right after this. You're watching Open Line.